Police Minister Bheki Cele says South Africans must realize alcohol is one of the major contributors to violent crime. Cele added that carjacking stats also show a decline of 1.6%. Bheki Cele briefed the media earlier today. To talk more on this, I'm joined by Police Minister spokesperson Lorenzo Temba. Lorenzo, good evening and thank you so much for your time tonight. Certainly, alcohol remains a concern for the police.
Absolutely, Bongiwe. What we're seeing in our figures is that alcohol is one of the causative factors that is really showing its figure or showing its head in many of the crimes that we see. For example, the figures show that consumption and abuse of alcohol is a causative factor in hundreds of murders cases reported in the past 3 months. Now, these 3 months we're talking about is July, August, as well as September. Liquor was also involved in 829 of the assault GBH cases, Bungewe, as well as 747 rape cases. So I think the figures make it impossible to deny the negative effect of alcohol abuse in community.
And certainly, Lorenzo, this is a multifaceted problem. Where does the police department begin to deal with this? Because it certainly is not only up to police, and because it's also user behavior. But where do police officers then begin? I mean, surely, if you still are having concerns at this level about alcohol having been a factor in some of these crimes, it certainly means that a lot, like speedy action, really must be taken.
Certainly, Bongiwe, what we're seeing also is not just, these petty crimes that we're seeing, but we're also seeing the murder rate being influenced by alcohol. We are picking up dead bodies around shebeens, around bars, around nightclubs. What we're seeing is that over 5,000 people were killed within this reporting period of July and September. And many of them were picked up around those areas. So as a police, we can only do this much. We've said this many, many times, that alcohol is a causative factor, yes, but also it's not one that can be enforced by the law only. There needs to be other departments that needs to come on board to ensure that the social fiber, the social fabric really needs to be reinstored, because we are seeing that there are, the mass abuse of alcohol in our communities, but also these figures that we're seeing and that we've released today are really vindicating the police and then clamping down on these illegal establishments. We've seen the police minister going to operations. We've seen most recently a couple of weeks ago where the minister went to establishments in Gauteng, most dominantly the Black Door Lounge, where we saw that they were basically disregarding the lockdown regulations. They were operating over and above the curfew that has been put in place to ensure that we do not further spread COVID-19 rules. And of course, many quarters have criticized the move, but these figures show that this was supposed to happen, because it is those establishments where we are picking up the dead bodies, where people are being raped, where there are assaults, and where there are those attempted murders as well.
Lorenzo, we talk about murder, disturbing figures, of course, coming out of public spaces, but even more disturbing are the number of people that are being killed in their own homes or the homes of those who have ended their lives. And alarmingly, arguments and misunderstandings appear to be playing a factor here.
Absolutely. 900, Bongiwe, 900 people were killed in their homes or the homes of the people that ended their lives. It means that it's people that they knew, people that they trusted, people that they felt comfortable to be in the same space as the people that really ended their lives. But we also are seeing with these figures, Bongiwe, that robberies, vigilantism, and gang conflicts also feature quite high on the list of some of the causes of murder. The Minister of Police is quite clear on this one. Over 5,000 people being killed in a period of 3 months is simply unacceptable. But at the same time, we as the police are also trying to put out the message that what we're seeing and the stats are showing us is that some of these deaths are happening behind closed doors, which means that it is almost impossible to police such acts. But at the same time, from the sample of about 4,290 murder dockets that we were able to analyze, 1,992 of the murders occurred in public spaces, where these are beaches, parks, streets, as well as open areas. And of course, we as the police want to prevent these sort of deaths, but as well calling on community to ensure that, as we mentioned previously, the abuse of alcohol needs to be looked into, but also just the moral fiber of society also needs to be looked at as well.
And talking about the moral fiber, some have argued, especially when you look at issues around vigilantism, some have argued that they're taking matters into their own hands simply because there's not enough policing, there's not enough that is being done to ensure that those that are accused of certain different crimes in their communities are kept behind bars.
Bongiwe, that's one thing that is coming out time and time again. As the police ministry, as well as the SAPS, go from one community to the other, we'll be having these imbizos and really engaging with communities about what are their policing concerns. Many a times people are coming out to say, we are simply not satisfied, or we feel that the men and women in blue can do more to address our policing needs. And this is why we are going to these communities. We're saying, look, we're here to listen. We are here to even re-look at the cases that you say you have opened and you feel that due diligence has not been done to really give you justice. And I think I want to also emphasize this point that we've also been getting a lot of sort of complaints around how victims of gender-based violence are being treated at police stations. Bongiwe, the Minister of Police has been very clear and very vehement on this one, that police officers who are not giving just, professional, ethical services to victims as well as survivors of gender-based violence do not have a place in the police service. In fact, when we launched the festive season campaign in Boereditjhaba and the Free State, what the minister emphasized is that let us obviously combat all criminalities and all its formations this festive season, but let us have an extra look at protecting and serving the women as well as the children of the public, because we cannot fail in this regard. So officers that continue to turn away victims of crime, gender-based violence victims, really do not have a place in society. But I think something that is work in progress, Bongiwe, we know that some officers and some police stations are better than others, and we are really, really calling on police officers to ensure that they not only just uphold constitutional obligation, which is to protect and to serve, to investigate, and to make sure that recourse as well as justice is brought on to South Africans, but also to just do it with ethical reasons. Just show and demonstrate Ubuntu, because really that's all really that is at the forefront, or needs to be at the forefront of providing services to South Africans.
Leranzo, as we wrap up our conversation tonight, I'm going to ask you also about something that, was not in the crime stats, but certainly was making headlines this week. The scenes that we saw outside Brackenfell, this week, certainly police officers coming under fire, people saying that, no, they were overpowered, they did not want to, clamp down or even arrest, and I quote, the white people that had attacked, members of the EFF. Has the minister said anything about this particular altercation, and what is his take on it?
The minister has been quizzed by this and about this many a times since the incident, and he's very clear on this one, that crime for the SAPS has no color. South Africans need to be treated the same, and criminals need to be treated the same. This is why when the Clicks protest happened, He called for arrests to happen when the Senegal protest happened. He called for arrests to happen. And even with this incident, he's doing the same thing. Bongiwe, it's very important that this narrative, which is very false, that is being peddled around, that there are some sort of kit gloves that are being used by police when treating white protesters, really needs to come to an end. Police are there and they're trained to analyze a situation and put in place what is best for that situation. And we believe that the police, as well as those protesters that have been harmed in that incident that you are referring to, really do need to go to the nearest police station and open up cases. But moreover, the police minister is very steadfast in saying that police must conduct their work. They shouldn't be influenced by any other work or any other influence, but the fact that stability as well as law and order needs to prevail. So just to answer your question, Bongiwe, for us as a SAPS, criminality does not have a color. If the protesters or the picketers are white or they're black, they need to be treated in the same way, and they need to be brought to book, if they are found to be on the wrong side of the law.
All right. Thank you so much. We certainly do appreciate your time tonight. That's Police Minister Bheki Cele spokesperson, Newzroom Afrika.